Y'all ready? It's time to talk ball with Spunky Spectrum. Let's ride! Ow. Woke up in the morning, coffee in my hand, another season about to start. I'm the fantasy man, scouting sleepers, crunching numbers late at night, building rosters that gon' shine under them lights. From rookie watch to big revenge, I see it all, stacking points while the league's watching me ball. Best ball drafting, no waivers, just pure skill. I'm taking shots, watch the whole league getting killed. Yeah, the grind don't stop, the picks stay high. When the money's on the line, I connect the dots. We're talking fantasy football, best ball drafting deep. Spunky Spectrum spinning, put a league to sleep. 15 grand on DraftKings, cashed it like a king. Now the whole damn country know I run this thing. Yeehaw, raise them up, another W in the books. Fantasy king, got the trophies and the looks. From the podcast mic to the big check in my hand, this is Spunky Spectrum boys, the fantasy man.
Yo, Big D here, talking all things Belgium, USA, driving top production, Spunky Spectrum Sports. Also, if you want to see me on Twitch, the Big D 3300. Also, check out my Facebook page, DYLANSCHMITTLE. Also, yes, Belgium turned us into a bunch of Belgian waffles with a convincing 4-1 defeat, giving the US its fourth straight round of 16 elimination from the World Cup. I will get into that. I will get into why this US team is going backward in many ways. Going forward and backward tonight. And, frankly, I think everybody was excited to see what the US and Belgium would be. We all remember what happened in 2014 when Belgium won round 16. We also remember when Belgium beat us 5-2 in March. And turns out maybe we should have paid more attention to that game because Belgium dominated every aspect of the game. Despite playing 120 minutes, it looked like the U.S. played 120 minutes tonight because that was the most energetic team I've ever seen. I can remember. And, for many, many years, the U.S.'s strength was back at the front. Like, we would always have good goalkeepers, whether it be a Brad Friedel, a Casey Keller, a Tim Howard, a Brad Guzan. Right now, I don't care who's in goal between Matt Turner and Matt Freese. The goalie situation has never been worse for this country. I mean, between them, yeah. But if both of them were in the same net, I think there would be more goals. I think the other team would score more goals than if Thibaut Courtois were in just one net because, frankly, the American goalkeeping and defense were not good enough. And in a game against Belgium, when the U.S. knows that Belgium will play, that Belgium's a notch, probably 2 notches higher than any team we face, that's not good enough. I mean, the defense and goalkeeper and Freeze couldn't catch up. I used my favorite golf terminology. Couldn't hit water if they fall off a boat. Well, tonight, Freeze and the defense couldn't hit water if they fell off a boat in Puget Sound. I mean, not good enough. And to be honest with you, this performance did not seem like the same U.S. Maybe the fact that U.S. played a half hour with 10 men on Wednesday hurt, but that shouldn't be an excuse. Like, well, Pulisic hurt. I'm like, Pulisic's not been right the whole tournament. And you know what? I'm be frank and honest and completely objective. I think the days of Christian Pulisic being the top player on this team are over because, frankly, Christian Pulisic hasn't been great. And tonight, in the biggest game of his career, Christian Pulisic played, you could argue, the worst game of his career. I got a stat for you. CP10 lost the ball 11 times in the first half. 11 times. Every time it seemed like a Belgian player sneezed on him, Pulisic was giving away the ball. That's not good enough. And I have Pulisic jersey. Maybe the U.S. should have said, you know what? Not only do we get Flo Balogun, but we'll play it in these jerseys because these jerseys look a lot better, providing more goals and clarity on the back end than the blue ones we won. But that's another story. Frankly, Pulisic didn't look right. I mean, the tackle. I know everybody will say, "What do you think about the play?" That's what Pulisic wasn't fouled. It looked like I think it was Tillemans, the Belgian captain. It may have looked like Tillemans fouled him, but Pulisic actually tripped himself, hurt his ankle, which is why he ended up leaving. And looking back on it, why didn't Pulisic go down earlier? Maybe we didn't give up that third goal, but frankly, I'm not sure it mattered. Belgium kicked all solely butts the whole game. The year was unbelievable. Getting the game off and running after was the year from Raskin, put in 1-0. I mean, frankly, I think the U.S. was fortunate not to be down more earlier because Freeze made a big save less than a minute into the game. And looking at the Belgian lineup, I think most of the football brain in me was thinking, interesting. Rudy Garcia took out De Bruyne and Doku. Now, Kevin De Bruyne, for the terrific playmaker he is, doesn't have the legs and doesn't have the want to track back. And Doku hasn't looked right dealing with that respiratory illness and probably can only give about an hour. So he's thinking, I'd rather have Doku as a super sub. And we know Lukaku's not really fit for a full game. So rather have, instead, Belgium went with more of an athletic team, one that could handle the U.S. West. Because in many ways, Belgium won the exact same spot that England played last night at the Azteca. Knowing Seattle is all home, Belgium basically played that like an away, like a road game in Europe. And I think Belgium were faster. They got to every loose ball, and frankly, I don't think the U.S. ever looked comfortable. I mean, defense. Tim Ream, frankly, looked like a 38-year-old defender tonight. And maybe in a way, the U.S.'s problem was that the backline didn't face Turkey in that third game. They hadn't faced a team with the kind of technical abilities. They hadn't faced a Trossard. They hadn't faced Lukaku, Doku, or any of those Belgian players. They sure as hell didn't face anybody like Thibaut Courtois. Frankly, we didn't test. The U.S. didn't test Courtois enough. I mean, it's 1-0. Could have been more. More, frankly, should have been more. A really sad sight happened midway through the first half where Tillemans actually accidentally tackled his own player, Anna, and so Belgium were forced into making a change where Vanaken came into place by Oyana, and you saw late in the game where Oyana was not looking right. Like, it looked bad. Like, it looked like Oyana may have damaged his knee. Who damaged his knee? So, actually, not just bad news for Belgium, but bad news for Villa because they're both teammates for Aston Villa. So now Aston Villa could be without a midfielder for a good chunk of the Premier League season. But you know, um, going into the water break, the U.S. clearly second best and it needed a moment of brilliance. Maybe a bit of luck. But the U.S. got both, where Malik Tillman does what he's done better than anyone at the World Cup. The free kick, dangerous area, and I'm thinking Malik Tillman's going to put this on top. Little bit of a deflection, but Tillman got the U.S. on the board. Board. Taking a wicked deflection. I don't know if Couture was called off guard. 1-1, clearly against him on the play, but the U.S. was back in the game. Then, the worst possible thing that could happen. You know what the most dangerous time of a football match is? When you give up a goal. Because everybody's celebrating, and Belgium just kept coming after. Trossard, who was brilliant all night, found Leo for his second goal, making it 2-1. I think then McKennie got a yellow card, and caught. I mean, both goals were like from easy. I mean, taking candy like from a baby, taking candy away from a baby. I mean, Tim Ream looked like it was about 138 on both those goals, and there were a couple moments. There's Hyper. They nearly made it 3. 3, so U.S. scores made a change at halftime, taking off Serginho Dest, putting on Giovanni Reina, and then frankly, I have no idea what Matt Freeze is doing. That's one of the that play Matt Freeze made is the worst play I've ever seen the U.S. goalie make. I mean, he looked like a damsel in distress. I'm like, what is Freeze doing? The one thing the U.S. cannot do is self-destruct. You know, if Belgium scored great goals, that's fine. I mean, if Belgium won 4-1 and scored 3 or 4 good goals, that's fine. The one thing the U.S. cannot do is fall asleep and give Belgium a cheap throw. Because 2-1 and 3-1, as England and Mexico found out last night, way hard to come back. And then Freeze, I mean, goes out of his box, tries to deal with the clearance, then the striker pokes it away, and can the substitute got the loose ball and beat Ream. So the U.S. ended up going 3-1. And to make matters worse, Pulisic was still dealing with the ankle injury, so the U.S. not only gave up a goal, but Pulisic is now out of the game. And if Pulisic would have gone down, theoretically the U.S. could have gotten Sebastian Berhold into the game because the U.S. would have made the change anyway. I mean, the goal was from 35 yards out, but like 30-something yards out. But frankly, I don't know what Matt Freeze is doing, and Tim Ream, of course. Oh boy, yikes! Bad. To make things worse, right? Yeah. So, Berhalter comes in for Pulisic. Then Doku and Lukaku came in right around the water break. I think it may have been just before, just after. I'm not sure. Malik Tillman got a yellow card. Then Ricardo Pepi replaced Tyler Adams. Frankly, even in even in the desperation side, it never looked like the U.S. would score. I mean, Balogun came close once on a low shot that nearly fooled Courtois, but of course, Thibaut Courtois saves everything. And then, to good measure, Romelu Lukaku does what he's done better than anybody in the Belgium shirt, scores 93rd career international goal, make the game 4-1. I mean, if you look at expected goals, possession, U.S. ended up having a little more possession, but Belgium clearly better, nearly tripling the U.S. expected goals and deservedly going through. Until tonight, this was a fantastic World Cup for the U.S. I mean, 4 wins, a couple clean sheets, but Belgium was going to be our toughest game, no questions asked. And tonight, the U.S. did not pass. The U.S. flunked in every aspect. I mean, I like the lineup staying with the same lineup, but frankly, there was no energy. Maybe that Bosnia and Herzegovina game took something out of us, but maybe the Balogun inclusion may have hurt us because we may have been training with Pepe or Haji Wright thinking those guys would have played, and that might have pissed off Belgium thinking Balogun was playing. Plus, Belgium's a top 10 side. These are world-class players. I mean, Jeremy Doku won the FA Cup and Carabao Cup for Manchester City. Just won the Premier League with Arsenal. Thibaut Courtois, of course, won many trophies with Real Madrid, and that makes a difference. Having those guys have been there, and frankly, the U.S. lacks the leadership. I didn't see enough emotion from the team. I mean, I like when Malik Tillman actually got a little energy, but frankly, the U.S. lacked that leadership tonight. Like, nobody was getting everybody's face. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. There was not enough emotion from this team, and I think even novice fans will know. It's one thing if a team scores 3 or 4 goals and, goals like England scored the other night, but, those goals were brilliant moves. 2 of those moves from Bellingham and, of course, Kane's penalty. But the U.S. really gave away a couple of those goals. And against Belgium, that's not going to work. That's not going to be good enough because Belgium's not going to lay over and say, hey, you can't have you're not going to have room. Belgium played the perfect second half. They're like, we're going to let you have the ball, but we're going to beat you on the counter, use our pace, and bring in Doku and Lukaku, finish off chances, and meet Spain. And, a lot of people worried about the U.S. eventually playing Belgium if we finish second, but we ended up finishing first, so ended up playing Belgium anyway, not that it mattered. And the Belgians' credit, they could have folded against Senegal. I mean, whether that penalty was really a penalty, but came back and now 2-0. And maybe Belgium got a lifeline thinking we should have been out. Instead, we ended up beating Senegal. Now we have momentum. And maybe Belgium, for the first time in this era, has got a chip because they know this is Belgium. Because those Belgian players know this is a last chance. Lukaku, Courtois, De Bruyne, maybe not Doku, but a lot of these Belgian superstars from many years by have already retired. Courtois, Lukaku, from international football or retiring in general. You think Vincent Kompany has them. Of course, now Courtois, Lukaku, and De Bruyne are still the big 3 left from 2014. And I think tonight, Belgium showed you could win a road game just fine. I mean, Garcia got his tactics absolutely spot on, and Mauricio Pochettino, went with the same 11, but for whatever reason, the U.S. was not ready to play this game. I don't know. Maybe the U.S. thought the game was at 8 o'clock Pacific, not 8 o'clock Eastern. In fact, I just messaged one of my friends on Twitter, does Mauricio Pochettino stay as U.S. manager? Because USA is paying him a lot of money. Obviously, he did great things getting this team to the round of 16. But you know what? Bruce Arena got this team to the corners. Bob Bradley got this team to the round of 16. Jurgen Klinsmann and Greg Berhalter battled out the round of 16. I don't know. Is the U.S. only able to make the round of 16? Perhaps. We saw with Mexico last night losing to 10 men against England with 10 men last night. I think I see something with Mexico and the U.S. is similar. I think Mexico and the U.S. have good players, but they don't have the right players in the right areas. Belgium went into this game with arguably the world's best goalie. Trossard is a Premier League winner with Arsenal. Jeremy Doku is arguably one of Man City's best players. I think we saw Man City's best player in Norway. Jude Bellingham is a La Liga Champions League winner with Real Madrid. Harry Kane scored a few goals in his career. And frankly, the U.S. doesn't have that play. And forever, the U.S. strength was on back to front. We all remember Tim Howard's 15 save performance against Belgium 12 years ago in Brazil. But this team doesn't have a great goal. The defense, if Belgium tore apart this defense, well, what would have Spain done? In a way, what would France or England do? Because frankly, the U.S. defense wasn't good enough. And, I thought Malik Tillman was probably the U.S.'s best player tonight, but that's not saying much because this team wasn't good enough. They didn't have the right players, and the U.S. couldn't. The U.S. just couldn't establish any positive momentum. Even when we started okay in the second half, we gave away a sloppy third goal. And for the Stars, Christian Pulisic didn't play the Gold Cup last summer because he wanted to be fully fit. Well, he left the game. He left 2 games. Didn't play the second game. Came off the bench in the third and never played a full 90 minutes. And I think CP10 actually played pretty well against Paraguay, but never looked right. And you wonder, will Christian Pulisic ever get the chance? Because he's 26, 27. And, I love CP10. I'll go down with the ship, but CP10 must be better. That's not good enough if Pulisic is sort of is just, a 2 or 3. Because for this team, Christian Pulisic's got the number that everybody wants. He's got the 10 playmaking number. That's not good enough. No, tonight. I didn't see Christian Pulisic have the same energy, the same charisma. And maybe Belgium's pace fooled us. Maybe Belgium's pace and power intimidated us. maybe for the first time at the World Cup, the U.S. faced a team not only could match the U.S.'s intensity, but match the pace, power, precision, and passing. Because possession, I mean, the U.S. had more possession, but honestly, the U.S. never threatened. They never came close to threatening. And that's not good enough. I mean, we watched Spain and Portugal. I mean, it seemed like every moment Spain looked like they could score, whether it be Lamine Yamal, whether it be one of the strikers, and of course, right, the U.S. never seemed capable of putting significant pressure on Thibaut Courtois. And, maybe these CONCACAF teams are just, maybe we over calculated how the crowd will play a factor. But maybe we also realize there's a ceiling with these teams. The U.S. needs better possession and guys capable of running a game. Gio needs to get more playing time. But, Malik Tillman's still young. Some of these guys. Adams, Weston McKennie. I mean, Weston McKennie everywhere. I think Weston McKennie's out of gas. I think Weston McKennie just runs himself strong. I mean, it's funny. We were not prepared for that game whatsoever. Yeah, you're right, Papa. And it's one thing if you give up a great goal. It's another thing. Oh, what's up? Thank you, Papa. That's another thing the U.S. gives up fundamental. I mean, those mistakes that the U.S. made. I mean, what's Freeze doing? He's like, oh, what I do? Why not just boot the ball down the pitch, set up, and just? I know everybody wants to play out from the back, but what are we doing? I'm going Taylor Twellman after we missed 2018 World Cup. What are we doing? The U.S. has got problems. But you know what? Germany didn't make it out of the round 32. Brazil didn't make it out of the round 16. Italy didn't even make the World Cup. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow with Argentina, Egypt, Colombia, Switzerland. But, I don't think the U.S. should be ashamed. But frankly, I think Belgium broke my heart. I'm sorry. I honestly thought the U.S. could make a quarterfinal, and maybe my expectations were inflated by what I saw in the earlier group games and against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Hey, Papa, maybe I hope Matt Freeze isn't scheduled to be coaching your 7-year-old son because your son's soccer team anytime soon. But I think in many ways, I love how the country got behind the scene. I'm sure the ratings for this game were off the scale, but the U.S. has got a long way to go. Will we ever beat France? Will we ever beat Brazil or Germany, Spain? Who knows? Obviously not better than Belgium. And by the way, that's a mouthful in quarterfinals. Spain against Belgium in LA. Well, certainly Kevin De Bruyne will be back in that game. Tune in to find out. Also, by the way, I know it's not really U.S. relevant. I feel like it's funny. Roberto Martinez, you could say, not ended, but he didn't exactly help Belgium at the World Cup of Euros, and now he practically ends Portugal's run. I mean, Portugal should not be going on the round 16. How Portugal ended up drawing with DR Congo. And in the Colombia game, Portugal tried playing on the counter. Nope. And then today, nope. I mean, why is Cristiano Ronaldo playing when Gonzalo Ramos scored the winner in Toronto, and all of a sudden Ramos can't even get off the bench? It's like, why, oh why? But at least we got Spain in the quarterfinals, so maybe we get Spain. I mean, if we end up in Final Four of Spain, France, England, Argentina, I don't think the world would be complaining. I mean, we end up with Mbappe, Lamine Yamal, Harry Kane, Lionel Messi. I think a few eyeballs be watching in this country. Sure. And you know what? This World Cup is far from over. We're going to see what happens. Argentina, Egypt, and Atlanta tomorrow. Then Colombia, Switzerland from Vancouver. So, all three CONCACAF teams unfortunately went out, but I bet the Arsenal fans probably thinking, yeah, Trisol won the Premier League. Those four deserving teams. Well, that's why France, Spain, Argentina, and England were four of the big favorites. Fortunately, Brazil lost, but they ran into their own home. And by the way, maybe the Norway fans will roll from the Hudson to Miami on Saturday afternoon, but we'll see what happens. So, it's hard. It's hard. Part of me is like, do I really want to stream right now? But I think I've got something to say, and I think it's better if I say something now than wait. So, congrats to Belgium for deservedly beating America, beating and breaking America's hearts in Seattle. But you know what? Seattle, you are America's home for football. And sooner or later, the Seahawks are going to be playing opening night. And the 12th man will be loud. So hopefully the U.S. gets to a quarterfinal, because that'd be something. So this is the Big D signing off for now. But go USA. All the way.